I can still remember it like yesterday. The sound of us kids running, laughing, the distant tinkling of an ice cream truck playing its eerie, off-key tune. My name is Jake. I'm 32 years old now, but at the time of this event, I was just 9. The event I'm referring to is the ice cream truck, or if we're to be really honest, Mr. Jingles, the guy who worked in the ice cream truck. I grew up in a quiet, sleepy suburb of a small town. It was a friendly place, a safe place, the type of town where most people didn't even lock their doors at night. At least my family didn't. Like I said, this happened when I was 9 years old, but it seems like yesterday. The event is still so fresh in my mind. Mr. Jingles was the ice cream man. He came to our street every day in the summer months. He wasn't likely the first Mr. Jingles, nor the last, but we were kids. How were we supposed to know? I remember hearing the sound of the ice cream truck, the tinkling tune growing louder. I said, "Mom, I hear him. Can I go?" She handed me a few dollars, which I crumpled in my hand and quickly took off out of the house, running down the street to meet the ice cream truck. My mom said, "Be quick, Jake. Dinner's almost ready." It was dusk and it was going to be dark within an hour or so. I ran barefoot down the sidewalk as other kids began to gather as well. There it was, the old faded blue ice cream truck, pulling up, the rust streaking down its side. The ice cream cone that was painted on its side had a faded appearance, and the paint had started to peel off a little bit. I remember the distinctive music that warbled and dragged like a dying music box. As we lined up, I remember the excitement and anticipation. It was like 90 degrees outside, and our house didn't have air conditioning. Behind the window, Mr. Jingles peered out. He had his familiar grin from ear to ear, and his crazy white curly hair that bobbled all around. A man in white grease paint, wearing a red bulb clown nose and a pointy red hat. He always wore one red glove and one white glove. Mr. Jingle said, "Hey there, sweeties, step right up. You all have been good, right?" My friend Tommy was the first in line. He stepped up to the truck and ordered a rocket pop, like he always did. Mr. Jingles handed him the rocket pop. Their fingers brushed. For a second, there was a pause. The brush was just too long. Mr. Jingles just stared at Tommy, grinning. Then he whispered to Tommy, "Gotta be real good now, or you'll hear the second song." It gave me chills, and I think it gave Tommy chills too. We all thought of Mr. Jingles as part of the summer, as part of the magic. As it turns out, we were dead wrong. I nervously stepped up to the truck. I focused on that wide grin and the red bulb nose. Mr. Jingles said, "Okay, little man, what'll it be?" "Ice cream cone, please." He handed me the cone, and I quickly pulled my hand away. With the other hand, I pulled out my crumpled dollar bill and handed it to him. Tommy and I started eating our treats At 90 degrees, the ice cream was already beginning to melt down my hand. The other kids got their treats, and Mr. Jingles gave a wave and closed the service window. The ice cream truck slowly turned and headed down the street with its familiar music tinkling out of tone. A few days later, Tommy and Stephen, another kid from the neighborhood, went missing. Their pictures were placed on posters and stapled to telephone poles. My mom was crying, and all the parents seemed to be whispering behind their screen doors. Nothing like this had ever happened in our town. But the ice cream truck with Mr. Jingles still came slowly rolling down the street every day, like clockwork, and each time it was playing its familiar tune. My mom didn't let me have ice cream every day. I got one treat a week, so when that day came, I was so excited. I quickly grabbed the dollar bill from my mom and bolted out the door. Mr. Jingles said, "Hey there, sweeties, step right up. Y'all been good, right?" I stepped up to the truck and ordered my ice cream cone. It was weird not seeing Tommy. Mr. Jingles leaned over and handed me the cone. I could feel his eyes locked on me, but my eyes were locked on the ice cream cone. Our fingers touched this time, and he brushed his finger all the way across my hand. I remember it was an uncomfortable moment. I looked up, and Mr. Jingles was staring at me with that weird grin. A chill ran up my spine. He whispered, "Perhaps it's time for you to hear the second song. You gotta be real good now." I quickly said thank you, handed him the money, and stepped away. That night I was unable to sleep. It was about 2 a.m. in the morning. Tommy was on my mind. He was still missing. Tommy was my best friend. We did everything together, so my world was totally off. Tommy's mom had come over earlier in the day. She was talking with my mom. I watched them as they sat around the kitchen table. I tried to act like I wasn't listening, but I hung close by. Tommy's mom was crying a little. They were talking so quietly that I really couldn't hear what they were saying, but I knew it wasn't good. I just laid there in my bed, looking up at the ceiling, and wondered if I would ever see Tommy again. Then I heard it. A faint music. It sounded like the ice cream truck, but it was a little different tune. The music was slower, sadder. I got out of bed and peeked outside my bedroom window. To my surprise, the ice cream truck was idling outside my house. The headlights were off. The service window opened up, and there was Mr. Jingles. He saw me peering through the window and motioned for me to come outside. I hesitated. Then he held up a sign that said, "Free ice cream. Come out, little man." I left my room and tiptoed to the front door. My parents were super strict, and I knew if I got caught, I'd be in big trouble. I'd definitely be grounded. I was sure it would be no ice cream for like a month. I was in my pajamas, and my feet were bare. No other kids were around, just the truck, just the second song playing at a very faint level. As I approached the window, Mr. Jingles put his hand to his mouth and said, "Shh." His eyes looked different. They were darker, much darker, almost as dark as coal. I hesitated, standing there about 10 feet from the truck. I had the chills up my spine again. That's when I realized the first song brought you out. The second song called you away. I backed away from the truck. Mr. Jingles whispered, "What's the matter, little man?" "The ice cream. It's free. Don't you want it? Come over. Take the ice cream." Something in my gut just told me to back away. I nervously said no thanks and quickly ran back into my house. I snuck back into my room. I was trembling. I grabbed my flashlight and hid under my bed. The second song was still playing. It felt like it was almost inside my room, like it was crawling along the walls, but then it faded. I stayed under my bed and eventually fell asleep. When I woke up, it was past sunrise. I peered out my bedroom window, and the ice cream truck and Mr. Jingles were gone. A few days later, my mom was nearly hysterical. She tried not to let me see, but it was obvious. My dad was trying to console her. Mikey, my mom's best friend's son, was missing. At that moment, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. It was like a wave of doom. Tommy and Steven were still missing, and now Mikey. My gut told me something was off, particularly with the ice cream truck. But I was a kid and didn't know how to express it to anybody, and I never told my parents or anyone about the night visit from Mr. Jingles until years later. That night, I had a nightmare. I could hear Mr. Jingles' voice from that night. The sign he held up, telling me to come outside, calling me little man, him whispering, "The ice cream is free. Don't you want some ice cream?" I got this vision of the other kids walking outside in the middle of the night after a visit from his ice cream truck, glassy-eyed like they were sleepwalking, drawn towards the truck with the second tune playing on a low volume, so faint you could barely make it out. And there was Mr. Jingles, still smiling, still waiting. Tommy, Steven, and Mikey were never found. It was years later, I think it was around 20 because I was in college, when I saw an article in the paper. There it was, a picture of the ice cream truck and Mr. Jingles. Mr. Jingles was being accused of the abduction of several kids. Some of them had been found, but none of them were found alive, just their remains. Many of them were still missing. There was a list of names of his supposed victims. There must have been 100 names on the list. I scrolled down the list, and there they were: Tommy, Steven, and Mikey.